All right, listen. So after the SmackDown, and that's why I gotta be in my blue. Season premiere. Raw had their season premiere, but it's not really about that. It's more so that hey, they really told us, and we knew we was going to get it. Is that we're going to have War Games once again for Survivor Series. You know, to be honest, I wonder how long we're gonna. I say we probably got one more year of probably this, to be honest. Just because I was like, by next year, we probably won't have any factions, to be honest. I was like, everybody should probably be broken up by then in some form. But with that being said, I think that we finally got a clear picture of with this Cody and Roman thing, and I was like, that we're going to get that bad blood of the team that we're going to pretty much probably get at War Games. And I was like, I sort of already done put that. I was like, because a while back, everybody was always predicting Roman, Jimmy, Jay, who will be the fourth member. A lot of people have said Sami or whatever. I, at the time, said Cody would be the one because I was like, not that saying that, because I was like, I said Cody because I was like, obviously, for what we're going to have to see here in these coming up weeks, the whole dynamic between him and Roman. But I said if the new Bloodline was able to get a fifth member, then obviously then they get Sami on the other end. Now, Jimmy is still out. We don't know when that return is going to happen. So it could put a little bit of hindrance on that team. But on the other end, on Raw, we've always had Sami and Jay always being cool. I was like, Jay getting from the bloodline, Sami getting from the bloodline. So it just makes sense that in order for Roman to basically beat this new bloodline, he basically has to apologize, reform, whatever you want to say, so go through some therapeutic process of the people he has wronged. Now, I was like, I think with that, while it could be cool to see what combinations of stuff, just because we are saying Sami and Jay, but we got to see how that crossover happened and so for this to come about. But at the same time, say that doesn't come to fruition because like Jay's over here getting in the Continental thing, and to be honest, we don't. I was like, we don't know if he's going to beat Braun, but it wouldn't put it past him to do that for him to get the Intercontinental Championship, and I think that would be a cool story beat of if Roman had to go and like see Jay after all this time. Jay got a title that's like, hey, I got my own big dog. I was like, and Roman being like, I always believed in you. Some type of that. Or Jay being like, oh, like you're a little empty on your waist kind of thing. Like that dynamic. Because you got to have a little bit of tension there. Sami's going to go at some point. I don't know if it's going to be at Bad Blood or they're going to probably prolong it, depending on however that storyline goes. But he's not going to be Gunther. I'd be shocked if something like that happened. But also, if say Jay doesn't win, does he get the tag team title with Sami? That's also another dynamic, which would sort of be a little bit of the old school dynamic of Survivor Series. Is basically Tonga and Loa also have Tonga and Tonga Loa also have the tag team champions over there, so it will make sense of them sort of clashing. But what about if we get where we don't get that, where it's like, okay, do Kevin Owens and Randy Orton, who are friends with Cody, have the team over Roman? Well, Roman and Randy don't. I was like, I don't think there was enough time to really establish the hatred of the bloodline necessarily in that case. Like, yeah, I know they took him out. He came back, and then he sort of had the fatal four-way shot, but he never got his one-on-one with Roman. Kevin Owens had just been dealing with Roman basically for 4 years, so there would be some tension there, and then we see how long it took for him to like Jay. But with that being said, of what that dynamic is there even enough time to get to that? I was like, I think that they will try to, because Roman being the big megastar he is, along with Cody, it's sort of like they gotta be in this. Especially with New Bloodline. But New Bloodline, to be honest, outside of jacobfatu, it's kind of just really been getting their ass handed to him. Like I said, Tama Tonga, they don't hold. He ain't hold the same weight that he did 3 months ago. Solo isn't the guy in the same way where we all used to see him as the enforcer. So it is sort of a weird dynamic there, and I was like, I don't really feel like they should bring Zilla in order to bring out this fire, because it's like now you're just adding another. I think that's a lot in a short amount of time, especially when the new Bloodline dynamic is already kind of just like, we're adding new people, we don't know a damn thing about them, so we're just gonna add another new person we don't know a damn thing about. But with that also being said, I think that once we sort of, I want to say like a month or so ago, I feel like if you would have asked them about the whole Bloodline thing at Survivor Series, it started to look a little bit more bleak, which sort of throws in the Judgment Day. And they got their 4 people. I was like, but who will be on the other side? Damian needs a person. And that's where, hey, on one hand, the Sami and Jey thing on that end of not being with Roman could work with helping out Damianpriest, because we already see Jey doing it. I was like, Samizayn, even though he's gotten into it with the Judgment Day, he's going to have Jey's back. Damian's, and I was like, on the babyface turn, and Sami always gives everybody a second chance. Now, who will be the 4th member for Damianpriest's side? That's a little bit more difficult. You could say Rey, just because I was like, his son is on the other end, so you can have that whole angle that still's ongoing. And there's really not too many else on Raw that you can throw in that seem like it'd be a big fit against Judgment Day, but I think that would work. So I was like, I don't think it's a hard dilemma or anything like that. It's really just, is there enough time to do enough reconcile for Roman in order for it to be a Bloodline thing, or do we just sort of go with the Judgment Day thing? And that's sort of what I was like, other than figuring out the team, because before the injuries and stuff like that, I was thinking of something crazy of a super team of like, if they didn't do Bloodline where they were like a real threat, like not how they are now, but a real threat. I was like, oh, they could do something wild and have Roman, Cody, and like Seth Rollins and Jey in there, because it's everybody that has had beef with Roman, but it also makes sense from the family perspective of Seth, who was his brother at one time, and that whole chair shot echoing throughout all from the Shield to WrestleMania. Jey, who he would manipulate it and all that other stuff until he basically got out the out of the Bloodline. And Cody, basically the guy who basically took him down, but it took him a while kind of thing. I was like, you could have some poeticness in there. And I think that's also why Sami worked. And like I said, if there was a 5th member, you would have that in there as well. Usos and all the other stuff. You can manipulate that team, whatever. We're not going to get that with Seth. He's gone. Jimmy, we don't know. I was like, but I think that, I think WWE is in a fine space, because if you can't do the Bloodline thing, you do got the Judgment Day stuff to fall back on or whatever like that. They were always going to be option 2 anyway. We don't know where The Rock falls into any of this. But I do think that it does have real stakes for either side, because the Bloodline, like the new Bloodline, yes, they got tag team titles. I was like, Solo lost 2 championship matches. He's not beating Roman if they get into a match. I was like, jacobfatu and Roman. I was like, I don't think Roman's going. I was like, that might be something where they just like have it be like a draw type of DQ thing or whatever, or the Wargames. I was like, we'll see how it goes in this bad blood match. But I was like, but at least with the new Bloodline, even if they lose and we look at them how we look at them, that's something that you can still always like keep going until WrestleMania. The Judgment Day, on the other hand, listen, I don't know how they make it to WrestleMania, really, to be honest. We're gonna get Finn and Damian at Bad Blood. I would say that the Judgment Day should win. Liv should beat Rhea and Finn should beat Damian. Now, after that, how does the beatdown keep going? I was like all this other stuff. But if they go to War Games and Damian Priest is able and his team is able to beat the new Judgment Day, that should really be it. I think that will really be a blow off thing. Where it's like, how do you prolong that? To be honest, the biggest match is going to be Bloodline because all that history and story that's you've done built up in the last several years. That's going to be the main one. But I was like, I don't think it should be overlooked of the Judgment Day as well. I was like, they have been first of all, they have been carrying since Bloodline, and they have been prominent in a lot of things where it's like, yes, the Bloodline is up here a tier, but for what the Judgment Day is, you could say it's B tier or whatever. I was like, yes, they're second to the Bloodline, but I think that that pretty much from last year till now, they have been up there and creating story along with Bloodline. I was like, so the question really is which one would be beneficial to story? And I was like, and not just the story in and of itself, but the story in order to carry to WrestleMania, because that's what's going to be done. I think you could get away with Bloodline stuff that doesn't have to be in the War Games and continue to have it going. Where it's like, I was like, because you still got The Rock in the corner. You still got Cody as champion. You still got Roman Reigns, where it's like he either gonna want that championship back or something's gonna happen where he got to take it back over the Bloodline. You have him trying to connect back with his family and stuff like that. Whereas like I was like, Damian Priest is not going to reconnect with that squad. That squad basically they'll turn on him. I was like, you got these 4 people with beef, then 4 people with beef. You don't have to try to figure out a mix of like trying to get that 5th person there or nothing like that. Yeah, so I was like, I think it'd be interesting to see which one they choose. I think we're going to sort of know which one they're going to probably choose. I think this bad blood is going to. I think this bad blood is going to really tell which one they're going to go with, because each faction has a predominant. I mean, like a real match in order to tell of like where it's going to go, because if Damian beats Finn, what more are we doing here? They're gonna keep jumping them all the time. And I was like, yeah, we're getting bored with that with Bloodline, but like I said, they still got so many other tricks on their sleeve that it's like I was like, they can keep on this going. So basically, which faction would you want to see in the War Game? Of Bloodline or Judgment Day? And then what are the teams? I was like, I sort of told you what I was like. I think only the Judgment Day to me only has one route of team that they can really do. I was like, Damian Priest collecting people. And I was like, and you could tell the story. And also the thing is that they both got similarities of story, because I was like, Damian Priest, like, say he gets Sammy and Jay, and I was like, maybe he gets Ray. Maybe not. Maybe Sammy and Jay got something else going on where they can't fully help out. But guess what? Damian has alienated everybody else in the locker room just the same way that Roman has in the Bloodline. That his story is, I don't have any friends. I got to try to find somebody. And maybe in the process, the Judgment Day is like have made enemies of other people that maybe Damian has like an enemy of my enemy sort of thing. I was like, I will say, with their match coming up, New Day could be a sneaky one. Just because I'm thinking of, like, they haven't been in a War Games match. They've done Hell in the Cell and stuff like that. Like, they have been in a lot of prominent matches to where it's like, they could be the other sneaky team to throw in there that if they do something with Judgment Day, because they got the tag team title match, and it's something prolonged with them where they just stay in the mix, I would like something like that. And with that one, you can still keep doing this Kofi Xavier Wood thing. And wouldn't it be crazy that, say, I was like, I don't think there's going to be a heel turn, but maybe it's just something where like Xavier and Kofi he just like, just like don't enter the cage. He's like, I can't do this, and it just leaves them high and dry or something. I don't know, just over here just randomly booking. But with the Bloodline side, I was like, they got so many routes to go of Roman creating a team that I think that's what the match will probably end up being. But I think that will probably be the outcome of which route do they even go once he's able to have to form a team or have to basically look people in the eye and being like, and because he's not gonna apologize, or anything like that. But what do y'all think? I was like, am I doing too much with basically being like Judgment Day or Bloodline? When I was like, I feel like even as I went about it, and I was like thinking about like who the teams could be and what's the storyline could be for each side, or why it would be bad to choose maybe the Judgment Day or the Bloodline. That's like, we're probably gonna get Bloodline because they overtake everything, they usurp everything else. So with Roman and Cody, the two top stars in the company, that they're probably gonna get the Wargames match. Because I was like, it would basically just be Bloodline Part 2 or whatever. And I was like, especially we're not gonna get to, I was like, I think we're going to try. That's why I think that this is gonna be the last War Game, because I was like, Judgment Day by next year really probably isn't gonna be a thing. I was like, even if it is Finn, JD, Carlito, and Dom, I don't think there'll be a faction this time next year. And the Bloodline, I was like, you can sort of keep telling the story of the Bloodline without there being the faction of the Bloodline. Because I'm like, you're not going to really have an iteration of it probably next year either. And then you might go back to the regular Survivor Series by then. But anyway, tell me what y'all all think. I was like, whether it's the combination of teams, who'd you rather see, Judgment Day or Bloodline? And I was like, and do we see like Roman having to reconcile? I think the funnier, I was like, while I would like to see Bloodline again, I do think that the more fun could be the Judgment Day one, just because I was like, you could keep telling that story with all those people in the Bloodline without the War Game stipulation, where it's like Judgment Day, I was like, they're gonna have a mismatched team that I think is a lot more fun. Even if they're not the same story, the same gravitas that is with Wargame, pitting them together that may not like each other. But anyway, let me know what you think. I was like, as we get closer and after Bad Blood, maybe get revised another section. We'll end up probably get more clear picture and everything. But anyway, till then, peace. I'm out.
Yeah, we party till the sun up. You ain't liking what we doing? Shut up. You ain't liking what we doing? Shut up.